right, welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 9th day of August 2021. There's just something I needed to do here. And of course, a very exciting day as we mark the start of the countdown to the 2022 election. Like I told you, on the 9th of August of 2022, according to the Constitution, there should be an election, the third one since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. And in studio I have Mauka Maure, the Deputy Majority Whip at the National Assembly. I have Senator Isaac Mwaura. There is Gladys Boss from Uasin Gishu, and I have Opiyo Wandayi from Ugunja constituency. And my name is Sam Gituku. Karibu sana as we dive into this conversation. I want to begin by looking at some of the stories making headlines on different papers. And you'll see that on the front page of the Standard is 1 year to Uhuru exit. The race begins, and they're talking about Kenya just entered what promises to be a bruising 365-day period before next polls, with eyes keenly strained or trained on possibly one of 6 men who have dominated the political space besides the president during his now 9-year period. I'll be looking at that on page 4 of the Daily Nation and page 6, of the Standard, and page 6 of the Standard, just to pick the political opinion of the panelists here. Then on the front page of the Daily Nation, you'll see the Top of Africa story. Congratulations to Team Kenya after winning 4 gold medals, 4 silver medals and 2 bronze medals. And you see the faces there of the champions of Kenya, from Eliud Kipchoge to Faith Chepngetich, Emmanuel Korir and Perez Jepchirchir, of whom won gold medals. Then you have Ferguson Rotich, Timothy Cheruiyot, Bridget Kosgei and Helen Obiri, who won silver medals, and one Hyvin Kiyeng and Benjamin Kigen, who won the bronze medals. Then we focus on the story that is making headlines on the front page of the Standard. If you continue to page 4, you'll see it's race against time as Kenya enters bruising 365-day poll year. They're talking about where the sites are trained on, the retiring governors, then movers and shakers. Just to look at some of those that you see on page 4 of the Standard, rather. Deputy President William Ruto, ODM leader Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, KANU's Gideon Moi, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, Fort Kenya's Moses Wetangula, and Maendeleo Chapchap leader Alfred Mutua. I wish you had that photo so that we could put it up for you. Then you have Martha Karua from NARC Kenya, the page 4 of the Standard, talking about where the sites are trained on. Then there are some retiring governors who might be influential in what happens, especially at the presidential election. You have Hassan Joho of Mombasa, Wycliffe Oparanya of Kakamega, James Ongwae Kisii, Salim Mvurya Kwale, Amason Kingi Kwale, Kivutha Kibwana Makueni, and Martin Ombora from Embu, who is the current chair of the Council of Governors. Then the movers and shakers, according to the Standard, IBC's Wafula Chebukati, the chairman, and National Assembly's Justin Muturi, and Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, then Senator James Orengo of Siaya, Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, Agriculture CS Peter Munya, Kitui's Charity Ngilu, and Kirinyagas Anne Waiguru as the people to watch. But then again, on the 6th page of the Standard, you see the question or the statement by the Standard: voters are now left recycling the same faces into position. Honorable Boss, do you agree that we are recycling the same faces if you are to look at the faces on page 4 of the Standard? What do we do if we are to keep insisting as Kenyans that we need fresh leadership that has new ideas?
I think what is the meaning of recycling? Recycling is when a leader or a politician is attempting the same position all the time and never succeeding. A good example is Raila Odinga. 5 times trying the presidency, has never won it. That is recycling. But if you look at William Ruto's case, his career has been an upward trajectory throughout. And in each position that he has vied for, he has never failed. So that's not recycling. He is growing. So there's a difference between growth and going back to the same position all the time and never succeeding. So there has to be a difference.
What does recycling mean? And do you agree with the statement by the Standard that voters are now left recycling the same faces into position?
I don't really understand what they mean by recycling, even though I don't agree totally with my colleague, Honorable Sholei's definition of recycling. Firstly, Raila Odinga has only run for presidency 4 times, not 5 times, as she's saying. But more importantly, in my own understanding,
2 elections in 2017.
in my own understanding, you can only be said to have been recycled if you have been elected twice or more times to one particular position. Raila Odinga has never been elected to the presidency, okay? Or at least he has never been declared the winner of the presidential election. He has never been sworn in as a president, even though he has won a number of times. So I don't quite agree with this shallow definition of recycling by the Standard Media Group. In my view, voters have got the capacity and the wisdom to choose or elect whomsoever they feel are right in terms of representing their interests when they assume the offices to which they are elected. Yes. And again, it depends on what ideas you are bringing on the table, regardless of how many times you are running, really.
Okay.
Raila Odinga keeps on bringing very fresh ideas on the table, which Kenyans obviously resonate with. Yes.
Senator Mwaura, do you believe that the faces we are seeing on page 4 of the Standard, it's just that our president will come from that list?
Well, you know, there is also the question of dominating rather than actually governing. And that space, it takes a lot of time for you to achieve that, actually. It doesn't just happen. I mean, you have to be really have been in this game for long. And it's not just Kenya, by the way, Sam Gituku. Yeah, across the world, you still see different, the same faces. For example, in America, you saw Hillary Clinton, for example, almost succeeding the husband. So the whole idea is also, I've actually been thinking about, by the time you become presidential, you have already done at least 25 years. Of politics in Kenya. If you look at the longest serving MPs we've had in this country, it was President Kibaki at 50 years and then President Moi at 48 years. So certainly...
but that wasn't the case for President Uhuru.
No, well, do you really want us to go into that direction? I mean, because of course he had a head start by the virtue of the fact that President Moi succeeded him. You know, then he of course, you know, he is also, his father was president, really. So I think he's more of an exception than the rule in terms of...
you know, Senator Mwaura, the reason why I'm raising that is because you say with so much authority that you need about 25 years. Jomo Kenyatta didn't have that. No. Neither did Daniel Moi.
No, Jomo Kenyatta took the advantage of Mau Mau.
Yes.
So he actually got those years through the Mau Mau struggle.
These are the founders of the nation. As you go by, you have 60-year history, right? So you cannot just come from nowhere and become, you know, like even Barack Obama in America, he was really somebody who went against the grain. So, and it's also true. I think, for me personally, I don't find a problem with that because you become seasoned. Okay. If you look at our politics, you know, you have already gone through, you become an MP, you become a minister, you become a governor maybe, or, you know, something in between there. So that now, by the time you want to go for the presidency, you're mature. However, I think also in this election that is coming in 2022, God willing, William Ruto is the exception, actually, because he'll be having a first stab at the presidency, realistically, and we hope that he can win. I know some people say that you have to fail or whatever. No. There's always a first time.
It's interesting how you're using history to explain one point, but you not want to use history to explain another.
Being selective.
There's an exception like Obama.
Honorable Mwaura.
No, can I help Mwaura on that one?
Just hold on, Honorable Boss. Honorable Mwaura, if you were to look at those faces on page 4 of the Standard, will our next president be among those men and women?
No, I totally agree that the next president will not come outside that page. And the reason being, as you've heard, if I want to wish to build on what Honorable Mwaura said, even if you look at Joe Biden, he spent 47 years in Congress. He literally knows everything about the state. Having been even a member of the Foreign Relations, the Judicial Service Commission, every committee, he knew how it was ran. Now, when you talk of experience, I remember somebody would wanted to attack Raila. I remember we came to Parliament the same time in 1993, January. Yeah. He had built on Odinga's name, just like the way you would describe President Uhuru. He did not come from nowhere. This is a man who is a scion of the founding father of this country. His name was resonating everywhere. Now, when you find him as president, it's not just that he was a stranger in Kenyan politics. It's also who are strangers to him who thought he's a stranger. He was not a stranger in Kenyan politics. The other issue that we needed to understand, you cannot mushroom from nowhere and storm your way into the presidency unless you want to use mercenaries like we are seeing attempts of
from Turkey,
of strange forces.
Yes.
Like the way you did have Tito Okello here in Kampala negotiating, in Nairobi negotiating about the peace in Uganda and the NRM, then the Museveni had gone behind him and he was storming into Kampala. If you want to do that, you can have a new president.
Very interesting, Honorable Maore. Honorable, was there something you wanted to add to what Senator Maore just said about experience in bidding for presidency?
Yes, I think just on Obama was not even actually an exception. Remember, he started local and grassroots mobilizations very early in Chicago. So his career didn't start when he went into Senate. It had actually started as a young lawyer when he did community mobilization. So his movement started long time before that. If you look at Uhuru Kenyatta, apart from leveraging on his father's name, he put a stab in 1997 and he lost, and then 2002 and then 2005 got involved in. So most people, you know, when you go into presidency, you have a bit of history. Some are very colorful history, others not so colorful, but at least they had been an attempt.
Okay, all right.
And then on this list here, where they say that first person, I mean, these are people, I can see the presidential aspirants. I think they are correct on that. The retiring governors, they are correct on that. The movers and shakers, yes, Chebukati. The speakers, that makes sense. Senator Orengo is someone who's well known. But someone like Fred Matiang'i, the only thing he has done is harass people using the security apparatus. So he's a shaker in terms of his disrupting the rule of law and completely disregarding
also
the various arbitrary arrests, the arrest of people like Gachagua, the arrest of the...
Is it him or it's the arms of government doing their job?
No, we have seen... Actually, it's unprecedented in Kenya. Since the new constitution, this is unprecedented. Matiang'i has gone back to the old constitution where the Ministry of Interior actually interferes and directs the Inspector General, when we fought so hard to have the National Police Service that was independent. And then when they put someone like Anne Waiguru, Anne Waiguru is not even a mover or shaker in Kirinyaga alone.
Before you go
Forget outside Kirinyaga. So I think she's just the face of BBI here.
It's fine to have an opinion, but since she's not here to defend herself, let's just leave her out of the conversation.
No, she's in the newspaper.
But because you've already made this point that CS Matiang'i is interfering with the work of the Inspector General, how do you substantiate that at a time that you know each office, they're actually even physically apart, but also knowing them that how they work together in the National Security Council? How would you say that he's been directing the Inspector General?
No, you have had the utterances of Matiang'i. I think you can play the clips when he has spoken. He speaks as if he's the police force, personally. That has been his modus operandi throughout. We have seen, for the first time, we have cases where people are being arrested on a Friday so that they can be locked up over the weekend.
Arrest?
Yeah, let me tell you, I've been involved when those arrests have happened. And his name is all over the place.
You know, Sam, I will have to, of course, sympathize with my sister here. Because perhaps the first time she's facing the so-called wrath of an interior minister whilst supposedly outside the government. You know, some of us are used to facing even worse interior ministers. In fact, if you compare Matiang'i with some of his predecessors, he's like a saint. Yes, but I don't want to hold brief for anyone. Anyway, but the most important thing is that I understand the situation in which my sister and her Ilka find themselves in the current circumstances. But back on this issue, Sam, this issue of the contenders for the presidency, I can see this list, this colorful list. Okay. Again, I want to agree with my colleagues that experience is important, more so in terms of gunning for presidency in a country such as Kenya. Okay, that is agreed. But then if you look at this list, sometimes I tend to think the media should also help Kenyans. Don't just lump people together without really trying to decipher who is who has what capacity. In my view, the people who can actually have a chance becoming president in this list could not be more than 2 or 3, okay? Led, of course, by Raila Odinga. But that's aside. The most important thing is that some of these characters are basically wannabe candidates. They're basically also runs, as it were. But at the end of the day, what we shall have in this country as we move towards 2022 August is that it will be 2 distinct formations. 2 distinct formations.
Okay.
One is going to be led by the grouping that is oscillating around Tangatanga. The other one will be led by the team that revolves around President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. The 2 groupings. Anybody else who will be outside those 2 groupings will basically be wasting their time, as it were, and escorting the rest. Yes.
I just wanted to provide context on why Interior CS Fred Matiang'i's photo is on the story, but at the Standard is saying that equally in this presumes will be the national security apparatus led by Hilary Mutyambai, the IG. It is not clear whether Interior CS Fred Matiang'i is running for office. Regardless, he will be one person to watch given his present powerful tenure in the country's internal security. So, well, Gladys both has her opinions, but Honorable Maure, as we exit from this conversation, what then shall we be expecting, especially looking at the impact of these faces that are on this story on the process of 2022?
I think picking from where Opio and I have said.
Honorable Maure. Your names are close.
Oh, you said Maura. This is good. Okay, let me just go because I had Maura. Anyway, that's okay. Thank you, Sam. I think some of these people, just as Opio and I have said, some of them really are also run. They are there. They are part of the party. They make you look good. I mean, they are empty forces, as we call them. And they are good because they give you the optics, but they really don't have a lot of clout. And in Gukambani, that is even where it is worse, because you have Mutua, you have Kibuda, and of course you have Kalonzo. You saw the sitting arrangement that happened when President Uhuru went there, and it was quite awkward for me. And also, you have also seen Gideon Moi inviting Raila Odinga to be the OKA, to join OKA. Certainly, maybe Gideon wants to be a running mate. I don't know. But Kenya is a de facto two-party state. And the 2 formations are around William Ruto, certainly, where I belong personally, and also Raila Odinga. So it is going to be a bristling battle. Okay. Interestingly, Sam, all of these people have associated with each other in the past. So at some point, all of us were in ODM together. Now there are different formations. And you know, do not criminalize associations. That's what I want to make a point. That's a good point. Yeah, it's very, very important.
All right, Honorable More.
No, I think we are in Kenya. And every leader has a right to associate. But I also find the lumping of these groups, apart from maybe 3 or 4, I think the rest is just free space.
Really?
The 4th one being Matiang'i, as you were saying, and is Mutyambai, and the national security thing that we want to disparage and despise. And we can tell the bile coming from our colleagues from the William Ruto side, whereby they feel that Matiang'i took his job. And it is an issue they have talked about in every opportunity. They have taken every opportunity to complain about how Matiang'i took his job. But the issue was that he surrendered the job, so it could not have been empty.
Yeah. How did he surrender, Honorable More?
Well, he surrendered in a sense that if you are working with your deputy and you find you are working at cross purposes, or in different focus. I think the best description was that of Bomas, when the president was talking about when he was launching the BBI thing in Bomas, and he described his relationship to everybody, that he wants to move this way, and the deputy has taken the baton and has moved in the opposite direction. So that one is quite a major debate. So when you have realized your deputy has gone opposite, you don't just wait.
Okay. Honorable, let me take a break at that point so that when we come back, we'll be talking about Deputy President William Ruto's frustrations, which have been talked about so much, especially last week. He was to travel to Uganda. He was blocked from doing that. He spoke in an interview with Inoro FM, quite telling of what a relationship they have in this final year with President Kenyatta, but also a businessman affiliated to him has been detained, expected in court today, a Turkish citizen, Harun Aydin. Have that conversation after the break. Stay tuned, text in your views to 2422 or tweet us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Sam Gituku. The hashtag to use is the break.